Welcome to the Comic Scoop, Moon Knight edition. Who is Moon Knight? What is Moon Knight? And why should you be excited for the up and coming Moon Knight series coming out March 30th in exactly 4 weeks from now? Moon Knight is one of those characters who seems to fit his way into everything, but also still be riding under the radar. Definitely, easily, one of my most favorite Marvel characters. Up there with Spider-Man. I love him so much that about over 10 years ago, I even created my own comic book character designed after Moon Knight. But where do we start? Well, who is Moon Knight? I guess is the first question. Now, in this series of Moon Knight, done by Mike Benson, and this issue in particular has Deoda Jr. doing the inside art. It's pretty cool. But this issue especially features in the back the very first appearance of Moon Knight himself. The Moon Knight first appeared in Werewolf by Night, issue 32, came out in 1975. Written by Doug Moench, who is also the writer of Batman Nightfall in 1993 when Bane breaks Batman's back in that iconic issue. And the artist was Bill Sienkiewicz. Sorry, Bill Sienkiewicz. So he is hired as, I don't really want to say an assassin, but this committee hires this man, Mark Spector, and gives him this fancy outfit with all these like silver encrusted spikes and daggers to fight the werewolf. He is featured in issue 32 as well as 33, where they end up teaming up and fighting the committee. It's pretty neat. And so that was that for Moon Knight's character until some years later, in 1980, Doug Moench actually continued with the character in his own series. Now here, this is Vengeance of the Moon Knight. This series is alright. So takes place during the Registration era or the Dark Reign era. Everyone has to register who's a superhero with the government. And in here, in particularly, Moon Knight is trying to get his vengeance with Norman Osborn. Now, I want to show this page right here. I was flipping through this the other day, and just that image right there of Moon Knight. Maybe you like recall there's a scene or like one clip in the trailer for the show where Moon Knight turns and he looks kind of like this. It's that costume's on point in the show. I'm really excited for it. But this issue features a reprint of the original first Moon Knight issue, which is really cool. So it has his origin story there. And there features Moon Knight along with his many personalities. And then his on and off again lady, Marlene. But we have Jake Lockley, the streetwise cabbie, who he just drives around as a cabbie, learning info of what he needs for the crime world of New York. Mark Spector, who is his prime personality, I guess. That's who he originally was. And as Mark Spector, he was left for dead by the Bushman. And Marlene had saved his life, or brought him into this tomb that they discovered of the ancient moon god of Khonshu. There's a statue of Khonshu right here. And in the wake of this statue, Spectre is revived, and under the belief that the god himself is what gave him life. Now, Khonshu is actually a real, quote-unquote, real Egyptian god, usually by the name Khonsu. and it's one of the gods of the moon, along with Thoth, also a really popular god. And Khonsu is supposed to also translate into the Traveler, which I guess is kind of like the traveling phases of the moon. Now, in Marvel's version of Khonsu, he's the god of the moon as well as the god of vengeance, and Moon Knight is ripe with vengeance. Now, another one of his personalities right here is Stephen Grant, and that's kind of more of his main personality in most of these early versions of Moon Knight than Mark Spector. And Stephen Grant is this Wall Street. I don't even know what to call him, but he's filthy rich, and he got that through stocks and bonds and Wall Street. Absolutely filthy rich, which is how he's able to do all this. And it's kind of funny. It creates the parallels of Moon Knight and Batman, and the writer of this also wrote some Batman stuff. So it's kind of funny if you really think about it. But it's me, just this guy. He's every every time he's trying to do a different adventure, he becomes a different personality, and it's all by choice. But as time goes on, he gets his delusions crossed and doesn't really know what's what at some points. And it's a really complex character, and that's what I love about him so much. Really complex, especially in the later series, which we'll get into in a moment. This is a more recent issue. It came out last year, I believe. Moon Knight. It's an annual, the Acts of Evil. In this issue, he's fighting it against Kang the Conqueror, who's pretty popular right now in the waves. So check this out. This cover is fantastic. It's actually my most favorite cover of Moon Knight, done by Pascal. And it's a wraparound cover, the Immortal cover. And this is such a perfect cover for Moon Knight, featuring him in all his personalities. Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant, and Mr. Knight, who is featured in much more of the recent comics. And as Mr. Knight, he has the Midnight Mission, which is this safe haven for troubled people. And as Mr. Knight, he's keeping the streets safe. Now, I originally saw Moon Knight featured in the original series of Ultimate Spider-Man, done by Brian Michael Bendis, who also was working on the Avengers during the Dark Reign. And in this, Moon Knight's a little different. He doesn't have his cowl up, and almost kind of seems to be wearing black as opposed to white, which in a moment I'll talk about here. But there's a few different arcs where he first appears and then he reappears without the glare there. Part of the Dark Knights, or the Ultimate Knights, since it's the Ultimate series. Brian Michael Bendis also had his own take at Moon Knight as well. It was a short 12-issue series. I have a couple of the issues here. And sometime next week I'll have the whole trade that I ordered through Third Eye. Yeah, this series is pretty interesting. It takes his mental illness to a whole another level. And since Moon Knight had worked with the Avengers at some point, and here he believes that Wolverine, Spider-Man, and good old Captain America are helping him solve certain crimes that are happening in LA. But it turns out that there are now new personalities that he has adopted. Oh boy, Mark Spector, what are we going to do with you? But my favorite series from past ones is Moon Knight, done by David Finch, who is normally a novelist, actually. So it's kind of interesting that he took on a comic book, and it's probably why his character, or the character, becomes so much more in depth in this series. Written by David Finch, or sorry, written by Charlie Hudson, sorry, and David Finch, who actually is more on the in the comic world. He's done a lot of covers and interior work, like this I Am Bane and Avengers Disassembled. Yeah, that's David Finch. Sorry, Charlie Hudson, on the other hand, he's the novelist, and his writing for Moon Knight here is fantastic. Takes the character into a whole more grittier, darker, extremely violent take, like bringing back the silver brass knuckled spikes that he has there, like he did in Werewolf by Night. Um, yeah, this one's great. And I'm not sure if this is the first issue where it's stated, but at least for me, this is when I was reading this is where I first understood the reasoning behind why he wears white. Now, over here, he's talking about how great it is to be back in New York, back doing what he does best, the fun stuff. And one moment here. So he talks about how when he was in LA with the B-list Avengers, Hawkeye made a lot of jokes, and oh man, I'm passing it. Sorry, passing. Makes a lot of jokes, and he says something, like, "Oh, you wear white, like, why would you wear white?" Yeah, let me get this right, Mooney. You work mostly at night, and you dress all in white. you know, and it's like, I thought that was right. Told him I don't wear white to hide myself. And I love this sequence here. I wear it so they'll see me coming, so they know who it is. 'Cause when they see the white, it doesn't matter how good a target I am. Their hands shake so badly they couldn't hit the moon. A good pun in there too. Is it? He's just that badass. Yeah, that's Moon Knight. So yeah, this was a really cool series. Finch did it for quite a bit. In it, I can open this one back up. So it starts off with Mark Spector in a wheelchair, and he no longer has his powers. His god has forsaken him. He is tormented because ongoing his ongoing baddie Bushman has finally been killed, or Spectre has finally killed him himself by cutting off his face. And that's featured in issue 2, which I unfortunately don't have. But here we have Spectre in the wheelchair. His legs are broken. Has his statue all shrouded up. And yeah, it's just kind of a story of him grieving what he once had, and he has lost all his friends and his love completely alone. And slowly over time, he becomes Moon Knight once again, which he dons the cape in issue 4, where Khonshu comes to him in the image of Bushman and gives him his powers back. And then in this fantastic issue, issue 6, oh, sorry, I got that wrong. He gets his power back in issue 4, but it's issue 5 where he dons the cowl and cape again, final page, because Taskmaster is after him and Marlene. And what's great about issue 6 is he just whoops the floor with Taskmaster. Like, Tasky is pretty intense fighter, can mimic what anyone does, but Moon Knight is still Moon Knight, and he has him here like crying, begging for his life. That's how you know you don't mess with the man in white. Yeah, really awesome series. I have a good trade here. Those of you that are looking to check out some Moon Knight stuff in preparation for the show, definitely check out the Hudson run of Moon Knight. It was fantastic. In this trade, Moon Knight has now got his registration card, and he's getting visited by the Avenger characters who aren't necessarily law abiding at the time. It's really good. Really great to see where he is. And it's not until so Hudson's writing it until about issue 14, where Mike Benson takes the mantle. And yeah, it just it stays just as awesome, just as badass. Um, we have him going back to back with the Punisher, and we even have the Thunderbolts after him because he and Osborn definitely don't get along, and like I said, he's not the most law-abiding guy, and everything's kind of topsy-turvy during this Dark Reigns series or event. Yeah, this one's a really great one. So speaking of favorite series, I highly recommend picking up Lunatic, the volume 1 of Moon Knight, written by Jeff Lemire, who is a really awesome horror writer. He's done a lot of Batman stuff as well. Written by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood is the artist. The art's really interesting in here. This story is fantastic. So Mark Spector is not a man that has his marbles well shut. And what's great about this is he wakes up and he's in this mental asylum. He's being mistreated. All of his friends and cohorts that you have met throughout the various Moon Knight series are other patients in this facility with him. And as you go along, brings up the question: is he insane? Is he seeing these things like this? Or is Khonshu just trying to help him realize that he is captive here and trying to be led to believe that things aren't what they seem? It's a really fantastic issue or series. Highly, highly recommend. Moon Knight Lunatic by Jeff Lemire. Mwah. Beautiful. And on the topics, or continue the topic of favorite series, and getting closer and closer to the most current stuff. So this is a run of Avengers, written by Jason Aaron and Javier Garon is the artist. This came out in 2020, starting with the first issue, 33, May 27, which is kind of a nice parallel that his first appearance was in a 32 of something, and now he's reappearing here after a lull in 33 of the Avengers. This is the Age of Khonshu, which you can definitely pick up the trade of this, and I highly recommend to read this if you're thinking on jumping into the newest series that's out right now. This one's really awesome. So, the god Khonshu has brought proposed to Spectre to fight the Avengers and take their powers, and it's really awesome. This first issue, he goes toe to toe with the Iron Fist, and there's some really cool sequences here where each one does an attack, and it has the attack listed there. Very awesome. There's some real great fighters here in the Avengers, especially like Iron Fist is a martial arts master, but Mark Spector is a whole nother level of badassery. And he just slowly makes his way through all the Avengers with Iron Fist, the Black Panther, Doctor Strange. It's really great. I featured one of these covers, the Alex Ross cover of Black Panther, in my Black History Month video. And yeah, this is a really great one. Must not sleep on it. Definitely read this. And once you're done reading this, you can hop on to the most recent series that's going on right now. It's been fantastic. This is 100% my most favorite Moon Knight series I have ever read. Which says a lot because Moon Knight is my favorite. I've read a lot. Love this Delato cover for issue 1 right here. So beautiful. That shading's fantastic. And this kind of picks off from Age of Khonshu. So the Avengers, after settling everything, have forced Mark Spector to go through therapy. because of the events that have happened in Age of Khonshu, and which is really neat. The element of a superhero, especially one as messed up as Mark Spector, to be in therapy is really cool, and seeing his progress with that has been really awesome. Today, actually, I picked up these two brand new ones. It's issue 9, which is his first issue, him back reappearing because the last issue he was indisposed because of the events of Devil's Reign. But Mark Spector is back as Moon Knight. I absolutely love the cover A. It's so gorgeous, it's so beautiful, and just wow. It's really cool. I'll go more in depth about this story with my weekly video. And then there was also a Carnage Forever variant, little promotion for the upcoming Carnage event. And this one was too awesome not to pick up as well. Like just check that out. Those are really great. Showed you the auto was awesome. That little glint of blood on his chest there and his claws. The Peach Momoko cover for issue 2 is also beautiful. And I really love the Raza cover from issue 7. Just like all white, got the shadow there, and little specks of blood. Yeah, this one's awesome. So aside from seeing this character go through therapy, you also meet brand new character, the Hunter's Moon, who is also a fist of Khonshu, and he does not like the way Moon Knight is doing things. And we meet some other new villains too, like Zodiac, and it's been great. Uh, Another thing I really highly recommend: don't sleep on the new current series of 2022-2021 Moon Knight. Written by McKay and drawn by Capuccio. Well, let's see. I feel like there's a whole lot more rambling I can do about Moon Knight, but I think I'll end my video on here. It's a good note. You guys have any more questions, feel free to leave any comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you want some more Moon Knight content, just give me a buzz and I can see what I can whip up. I have some other comics that I did not feature here. But yeah, please like, subscribe, share. And if you aren't yet, get ready for Moon Knight coming out March 30th in exactly 4 weeks from now. Y'all have a good night. Keep on reading, and toodles.